Hi, this is Derek Regensberger, and welcome to another episode of the Clarinet Connection, your source for gear and product reviews and practice and performance tips for the clarinet. In today's topic, we're going to be talking part number 2 of 24 tips for improving your clarinet playing, scales. And we all hate playing scales, but today we're going to look at some ways that we can really use them to improve our playing. It's not just about learning the notes, it's really about playing in time and increasing your speed so that you have greater flexibility. So let's take a look and see how we might approach scales. So one of the key things to playing scales is playing with a metronome. So I'm going to play a major scale and just show you how you can use it to increase your technique speed. So first of all, let's just take a look at a simple scale like G major, and we'll play it at 60 beats a minute. So I'll set a metronome going. So you really want to start slow. So even though you think you can play a simple scale at a relatively fast speed, because you're playing with a metronome, you really want to develop that synchronization with the metronome. So I've started here at a tempo of 60. You might even have to start slower. After a week or so, you're really going to develop the necessary synchronization, and you'll be able to speed it up. But don't go too fast. Don't feel the urge that, well, I think I can play it at 120, so let me just move up to 120. Really kind of increase those interval speeds in like 10 to 12 beats, and I think you'll see a big difference in your playing. But the key is to play at different speeds. So don't just be content with 60, try and get up to a really quick tempo, continue playing at several different speeds, like say 60 and 80 and 120 and even 144. And that way you'll have a range of speeds that you're comfortable playing at, and you'll have kind of a good innate sense in your head of what those 16th notes are going to feel like at all those various tempos. This is really going to help your playing advance. All right, another thing that you want to do is don't just focus on major scales, focus in on minor scales. And the reason for that is obviously composers will write things in both major and minor keys, but also when we look at accidentals, composers, even if they write something in a major key, for example, they will add elements of the minor key throughout the piece. And so you'll see those accidentals thrown into the music, and they're not just random. What the composer is often doing is using the related minor key. So for example, if the piece is in G major, there may be a lot of E minor thrown in, and so that's where those accidentals come in. So if you see things like G sharps and D sharps, that's a dead giveaway that some form of a minor key might be thrown in. So let's see what that might sound like. Another use for scales that's going to be important, again, that we talked about last time, is playing them in long tones, and I won't go through that again, but your scale warm-up should consist of long tones, and then playing with a metronome, again starting at a slow tempo like 60 and then gradually building it up, and probably playing at 2 or 3 different speeds so that you get a feel for slow, medium, and fast. And then again playing minor keys, but then switch it up and play the scale in thirds or sixths or other intervals. Here's the same G major scale in thirds. so obviously you don't want to spend your entire practice time just playing scales. If you played all 12 major and minor keys and then did them in thirds and did them in long tones, you would probably take up 45 minutes worth of your practice time. So what you want to do is kind of consciously think about how many scales do I have time for. They're a great warm-up. So maybe you play, let's say, 4 at a time. And you do that, let's say, on Monday and Wednesday, and then on Tuesday and Thursday, you play 4 other scales. So maybe you play flats on one day and sharps on another. But really think about, using the scales to improve your technique as well as your note recognition. Again, when you're playing the scales and intervals, make sure you use a metronome. So tune in next time for another episode of the Clarinet Connection for part 3 of 24 tips for improving your clarinet playing. Thanks again for watching and subscribe to the channel.